Awakening from the ashes. The stars had forgotten Earth. For 300 years, the blue planet hung silent in its orbit, a ghost of what it once was. The galactic powers that had condemned it to isolation spoke of it only in hushed tones, a cautionary tale of a species that reached too far, too fast. They called it justice. Earth had called it genocide. The facility deep beneath the Himalayan mountains remained untouched by the orbital bombardments that had scorched continents and boiled oceans. Its walls, constructed from materials unknown to the rest of the galaxy, had held. Inside, suspended in a cryogenic chamber filled with pale blue light, Commander Ilara Voss waited, neither alive nor dead, simply paused, Earth's final guardian. The emergency protocols finally engaged when a proximity alert detected an unidentified vessel entering Earth's orbit. Power surged through dormant systems. Backup generators hummed to life. Medical nanites flooded Ilara's body, repairing 3 centuries of cellular degradation. Her eyes opened slowly, burning from the sudden presence of light. Every breath felt like inhaling fire, every heartbeat a hammer against her ribs. The cryosleep recovery was never meant to be rushed. "Status report," she gasped, her voice cracking from centuries of disuse. The facility's AI responded immediately, its voice calm and measured despite the circumstances. "Commander Voss. Date is April 6, 2725. 302 years have passed since your cryogenic preservation. Earth Defense Protocol Omega has been activated." Ilara struggled to sit up, her augmented muscles protesting after centuries of inactivity. Her right arm, mostly mechanical now after the Battle of Mars, calibrated itself with a series of clicks and whirs. "Show me," she commanded. The wall before her became transparent, revealing a holographic display of Earth's current state. What she saw made her stomach clench. The planet's surface was almost unrecognizable. Where there had once been sprawling cities, now only ruins remained, consumed by rampant vegetation. The atmosphere had partially healed, but radiation signatures still marked the impact zones where antimatter weapons had detonated. "Population status?" she asked, already dreading the answer. "Approximately 1.2 million humans remain on Earth's surface, Commander. Most exist in isolated communities with pre-industrial technology. An estimated 50 million humans survive off-world in hidden colonies and nomadic fleets, undetected by the Galactic Council." Ilara closed her eyes. 8 billion reduced to this. She allowed herself 3 seconds of grief. No more. There would be time for mourning later, if she survived. And the ship that triggered my awakening. Galactic Council reconnaissance vessel. Light armament. Crew of 12. They are conducting orbital scans, presumably confirming Earth's continued quarantine status. Ilara swung her legs over the edge of the cryopod, testing her weight. They still fear us, even after all this time. There was a grim satisfaction in that thought. The Galactic Council commemorates the Earth containment as their greatest peacekeeping achievement. Historical records indicate they believe humanity to be functionally extinct. A cold smile crossed Ilara's face. Then they're in for a surprise. The recovery chamber provided her with a nutrient injection and a stimulant cocktail designed to accelerate her return to full functionality. As her mind cleared, memories flooded back. The final days of the war, the betrayal by supposed allies, the desperate gambit that was Project Guardian. She wasn't just a commander. She was a weapon, enhanced beyond standard human capabilities. Her bones reinforced with carbon nanotubes, muscles interwoven with synthetic fibers, neural pathways optimized for combat decision-making. The augmentations had been experimental, painful, and irreversible, but they had made her the perfect last line of defense. The facility's armory provided her with a combat suit that molded itself to her body, sensitive to neural impulses, and capable of limited self-repair. The weapons were simple but effective. A kinetic pulse rifle, gravity manipulation grenades, and a molecular blade that could cut through almost any known material. "Show me the Council vessel's scanning pattern," Ilara requested as she checked her equipment. The holographic display shifted, showing the predictable grid search of the alien ship. They were thorough but not particularly cautious. Why would they be when scanning a dead world? They'll detect the power signature from this facility soon, the AI warned. Good, I want to be found. Ilara's augmented eyes flickered with a predatory gleam. Activate all dormant defense satellites. Authorization VOS Omega Strike. Commander, those systems have been offline for centuries. Functionality is uncertain. Do it anyway. Throughout Earth's orbit, ancient weapons platforms stirred from their long slumber. Solar arrays unfolded like metal flowers seeking the sun. Targeting systems recalibrated. Most failed, their circuits long degraded, but enough remained operational to execute basic commands. Aboard the Council vessel, alarms blared as power signatures suddenly appeared across Earth's orbit. The captain, a tall Navarian with iridescent scales, stared in disbelief at the readings. Impossible, he hissed. This planet is dead. His second-in-command approached cautiously. Captain Rex, we're receiving a transmission. It's coming from the surface, in perfect galactic standard. The message was brief. You are trespassing in Earth space. You have 30 seconds to withdraw. Captain Rex's membrane-covered eyes blinked rapidly in agitation. Open a channel. Whoever this is, they're clearly delusional. The communications officer complied, and Rex spoke with the practiced diplomacy of his species. This is Captain Rex of the Galactic Council vessel Seeklight. We are conducting routine quarantine inspection, as mandated by Council Edict 7293. Identify yourself. The response came immediately. I am Commander Ilara Voss, Earth Defense Force. Your council has no authority here. This is your final warning. A stunned silence fell over the bridge. The name Voss was still remembered in certain council records, one of the human commanders who had inflicted devastating casualties during the final war. That's not possible, Rex whispered. No human could have survived this long. His tactical officer suddenly shouted, Energy spike. The orbital platform's air. The rest of his warning was lost as a concentrated energy beam struck the Seeklight's engines. The ship lurched violently, emergency systems activating as atmosphere vented from multiple hull breaches. Evasive maneuvers, Rex commanded, but it was too late. A second beam severed the ship's command module from the main body. As klaxons wailed and emergency bulkheads slammed into place, the captain made a desperate decision. Send an emergency transmission to Council Command. Tell them Earth is active. The humans have returned. The message burst from the dying ship in a tight-beam quantum transmission, bypassing conventional communication channels. Seconds later, the Seeklight broke apart in a brilliant flash of light. From the facility below, Ilara watched the explosion with no satisfaction, only grim resolution. The element of surprise had been valuable but temporary. Now the real work would begin. How many other Guardian facilities are still operational? She asked. The AI displayed a global map with a handful of glowing points. 5 facilities report minimal functionality. 3 contain surviving personnel in cryostasis. Ilara felt a rush of unexpected hope. She wasn't alone after all. Wake them. All of them. Across the planet, deep beneath the Earth's scarred surface, other cryopods hummed to life. In the Amazon basin, General Santiago opened his eyes. Beneath the Australian outback, Dr. Imani Wright gasped her first breath in centuries. And in the frozen wastes of Antarctica, Admiral Chen's cryopod began its revival sequence. Meanwhile, Ilara accessed the facility's central database, searching for the contingency plans that had been prepared in those final desperate days. Project Phoenix, the complete archives of human knowledge and technology. Project Diaspora, the coordinates of every hidden human colony and fleet. And finally, Project Nemesis, Earth's ultimate deterrent against extinction. The Galactic Council had believed they were being merciful by merely quarantining Earth rather than destroying it completely. They never imagined They were giving humanity time to prepare its response. "Commander," the AI interrupted. "Long-range sensors detect multiple Council vessels altering course toward the Sol system. Estimated arrival, 72 hours. Ilara nodded, unsurprised. "Then we have work to do." She dispatched automated drones to contact the scattered human settlements on Earth. Most would be suspicious, having reverted to simpler ways of life in the aftermath of the bombardment, but some would remember the old promises that one day Earth would rise again. Next, she activated the quantum entanglement communicator, technology the Council believed had been destroyed. One by one, signals reached out to the hidden human colonies and nomadic fleets, carrying a simple message in an old Earth code. "Phoenix rises. The Guardian awakens. Return home." In the darkness of deep space, aboard vessels disguised as asteroid miners, and on colonies hidden within gas giants, humans received the signal they had been waiting for generations to hear. Ships that had been maintained for centuries despite seeming futility were brought to full power. Warriors who had trained their entire lives for a day they never truly believed would come prepared for battle. Humanity was scattered, diminished, but unbroken. And now, they were coming home. In the Galactic Council's central chambers on the artificial world of Harmonia, alarms sounded for the first time in centuries. Most of the current Council members had never heard them before, the warning reserved for extinction-level threats. The High Chancellor, an ancient Vrel whose translucent body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, addressed the assembled representatives with grave concern. "We have received a priority Omega transmission from the Sol system. The quarantine has been breached. Earth has awakened." Murmurs of disbelief swept through the chamber. Earth was a historical footnote, a problem solved before most of them were born. "Impossible," declared the Xanthian representative. "Our ancestors broke their civilization. The humans could not have recovered." The High Chancellor's light patterns shifted to indicate profound unease. The vessel was destroyed by weapons of Earth manufacture. Before its destruction, it confirmed the identity of the attacker, Commander Ilara Voss. Now silence fell, heavy and oppressive. Even 3 centuries later, certain human names were remembered with fear. "We must respond immediately," the militant representative of the Sorm Confederation insisted. "Send the containment fleet. Finish what our ancestors began." The Chancellor raised a limb for silence. "The situation is more complex than you understand. There is information about the Earth War that has been restricted to the highest council for 3 centuries. The chamber erupted in confusion and protest. "What information?" demanded the Xanthian representative. The Chancellor's bioluminescence dimmed to almost nothing, a sign of extreme distress. "The true reason we quarantined Earth, rather than destroying it completely. The true nature of humanity's final weapon. And the real reason we have maintained the quarantine for 300 years. On Earth, as the first contingent of Council warships entered the outer Sol system, Ilara stood before the sealed vault that contained Project Nemesis. Her hand hovered over the biometric scanner, hesitating for the first time since her awakening. "Is there no other way?" she asked softly. "The Council is dispatching their main battle fleet," the AI responded. "Preliminary analysis suggests they intend total planetary sterilization this time." Ilara closed her eyes briefly. "Then they leave us no choice." She pressed her palm against the scanner. The vault door slid open with a hydraulic hiss, revealing not a weapon, but a small data crystal glowing with an inner light. "Transmit the Nemesis data to all returning human ships," he ordered. "Make sure every Council world receives a copy as well." "Transmission initiated," the AI confirmed. "The truth will be known in approximately 12 hours." Ilara's gaze turned toward the stars, where the first Council vessels would soon appear. "And then we'll see if they still have the stomach for this fight." Vengeance among the stars. The Council fleet arrived with overwhelming force, 500 warships spanning the void between Mars and Earth. Their weapons charged, crews ready for what they believed would be a brief, decisive engagement against whatever remnants of humanity had somehow survived. Admiral Kovask of the Praxian Dominion stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Inevitable Justice, his forearms clasped behind his back as he surveyed the tactical display. Earth hung before them, blue and green and beautiful despite the scars of the previous war. No sign of defensive platforms, his tactical officer reported. The initial report must have been exaggerated. Kovask was not convinced. The humans were always resourceful. Proceed with caution. Admiral, the communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a transmission from the surface. Ignore it, Kovask ordered. Prepare orbital bombardment sequence. Sir, the transmission is being broadcast on all frequencies. It's data. Enormous quantities of data. Before Kovask could respond, the main view screen activated without command. A human face appeared. Commander Ilara Voss, her expression severe but controlled. Attention Council Fleet. I am Commander Ilara Voss of Earth Defense. You have entered sovereign Earth space with hostile intent. Before you repeat the mistakes of your predecessors, I suggest you examine the data we are transmitting to your vessels. Kovask snarled, mandibles clicking in irritation. Cut transmission. Proceed with. Admiral. His science officer interjected. You need to see this. On a secondary screen, files were opening automatically. Classified council documents, video recordings, communications logs, all bearing the highest security clearances. What they revealed made even Kovask's alien blood run cold. The truth of the Earth War, hidden for 3 centuries, was being laid bare. It had not been humanity that fired the first shot, as Council history recorded. The war had been engineered by a cabal within the Council itself, species that feared human expansion and ingenuity, who saw in humanity a future threat to their dominance. The evidence was irrefutable. Falsified attacks on Council worlds, blamed on human terrorists. Manipulated diplomatic communiques that transformed peace overtures into threats, and most damning of all, the Council's secret weapon deployed against Earth, a bioengineered pathogen designed to target the human genome, released months before the official start of hostilities. This cannot be authentic, Kovask whispered, though the verification codes left little doubt. The face of Commander Voss returned to the screen. Now you understand why we call it the betrayal, not the containment. Your Council didn't quarantine Earth out of mercy. They did it out of fear of what would happen when the truth escaped. Throughout the fleet, similar scenes were playing out as the classified data spread from ship to ship. On some vessels, crew members, particularly those from younger species who had joined the Council after the Earth War, were openly questioning their orders. Aboard the Inevitable Justice, Admiral Kovask faced a decision that would shape galactic history. Is there any indication this data has been transmitted beyond our fleet? His communications officer nodded grimly. It appears to be broadcasting to every Council world and colony simultaneously. Kovask closed his eyes briefly. 3 centuries of lies were unraveling. The carefully constructed narrative that had justified the Council's actions against Earth was disintegrating. Commander Voss spoke again. We do not seek the destruction of the Galactic Council. We seek justice for Earth, acknowledgement of the crimes committed against us, and our rightful place among the stars. The choice is yours. Continue this attack and face a war that will consume the galaxy, or withdraw and prepare for negotiation. Before Kovask could respond, new alerts sounded across the bridge. From the darkness of space beyond Neptune, ships were emerging, hundreds of them, then thousands. Human vessels that had hidden for centuries, preserving their technology, building their strength. Impossible, Kovask breathed. The humans were supposed to be extinct beyond Earth. His tactical officer's voice shook as he reported, Admiral, we're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database. These ships, they're more advanced than our own. While the Council had stagnated, secure in their dominance, humanity had evolved in the shadows. The colony ships, the nomadic fleets, They had not merely survived. They had thrived, developing technologies born of desperate necessity and unbounded creativity. Across the Council fleet, uncertainty spread like a contagion. Some captains maintained discipline, prepared to follow orders regardless of the revelations. Others openly questioned the wisdom of engaging in a battle based on centuries of deception. The fragile unity of the Council forces began to fracture. On Earth, Ilara watched the Council fleet with tense anticipation. Beside her stood the other awakened guardians, General Santiago, Dr. Wright, and Admiral Chen, each monitoring different aspects of the unfolding situation. They're experiencing confusion in their command structure. Admiral Chen noted, his augmented vision picking up unusual movement patterns in the fleet formation. Dr. Wright studied the data streaming from their quantum computers. The Nemesis information is causing significant social disruption on at least 17 Council worlds. Civilian populations are demanding answers from their governments. General Santiago's focus remained on defense. Our returning ships are moving into position. If the Council fleet attacks, we're as ready as we'll ever be. Ilara nodded, her enhanced mind calculating probabilities, weighing options. And the Ark? Online and functional, Dr. Wright confirmed. Though I still believe it should be our absolute last resort. The Ark, humanity's final innovation before the fall of Earth. Not a weapon of mass destruction, as the Council had feared, but something far more revolutionary. A synthetic dimension created to preserve human consciousness if physical extinction became inevitable. It had remained dormant for centuries, waiting for the Guardians to reawaken. Let's hope it remains unnecessary, Ilara said. In space, the standoff continued. Minutes stretched into hours as the Council fleet maintained position, neither advancing nor retreating. Behind them, the human ships formed a protective perimeter, their advanced energy signatures serving as both shield and threat. Finally, Admiral Kovask made his decision. A single communication burst from the inevitable justice, directed not at Earth, but at the Council's central world. Request immediate diplomatic intervention. It was neither surrender nor attack, but acknowledgement that the situation had fundamentally changed. 3 days later, the conclave convened in neutral space. Representatives from the Council met with the Guardians of Earth and leaders from the human diaspora. The negotiations were tense, accusations bitter, recriminations sharp. The Council's High Chancellor faced Ilara across the diplomatic table, his bioluminescence pulsing in patterns that reflected deep discomfort. Even if what you claim is true. It is not a claim, Ilara interrupted. It is fact, documented in your own classified archives. Even so, the Chancellor continued, it happened 3 centuries ago. None of us were alive then. Why resurrect ancient grievances? Admiral Chen leaned forward, his voice steady but intense. Because justice has no expiration date. Because the 8 billion humans who died deserve to be remembered honestly. Because the quarantine you maintain continues to this day, based on lies. The representative from the Xanthian Confederacy, younger and less entrenched in Council politics, spoke cautiously. What exactly does Earth want? Reparations? Revenge? Ilara exchanged glances with her fellow Guardians before answering. We want acknowledgement. We want the quarantine lifted. We want humanity recognized as a sovereign power with all rights restored. And yes, we want appropriate reparations for 3 centuries of exile. Impossible, declared the militant representative. The balance of power has already shifted, Dr. Wright interjected. While you believed us extinct, we evolved. The technologies developed by the human diaspora are already centuries beyond your current capabilities. To demonstrate, she activated a small device on her wrist. Instantly, a miniature star formed above the conference table. Fusion without containment, energy without waste. This is merely one example, she continued as the Council representatives stared in undisguised shock. We could have returned with overwhelming force. Instead, we chose truth as our weapon. The negotiations continued for weeks. On countless worlds across the galaxy, populations grappled with revelations that rewrote their understanding of history. The Council, facing unprecedented internal pressure and the technological superiority of the returned humans, gradually conceded to Earth's demands. The Galactic Concordat was signed exactly 1 month after Ilara's awakening. Earth's quarantine was lifted. Reparations were established. A new era of galactic politics began, one in which humanity would play a central role. As the Council representatives departed from the final signing ceremony, the High Chancellor approached Ilara privately. "Commander Voss, there is one question that has troubled me throughout these negotiations. You could have unleashed this truth at any time in the past 3 centuries. Why now?" Ilara's augmented eyes studied the Chancellor carefully. "The Earth War nearly destroyed us. We needed time to recover, to ensure that when we returned, it would be from a position of strength, not vulnerability." "And the Ark?" the Chancellor asked hesitantly. "The quantum dimensional technology. Our scientists say it could revolutionize existence itself." A slight smile crossed Ilara's face. "That will be discussed in future negotiations, one step at a time, Chancellor." As Earth reopened to the galaxy, the scattered remnants of humanity began their journey home. Ships that had hidden in the darkest corners of space emerged into the light. Colonies that had maintained their isolation for generations prepared for reunion with their ancestral world. Standing on a hillside overlooking the ruins of what had once been Paris, now reclaimed by forest, Ilara watched the first shuttle land. Returning humans setting foot on Earth for the first time in centuries. Among them were children born in space who had never felt natural gravity or breathed unfiltered air. General Santiago joined her, his weathered face solemn. "It won't be easy. Rebuilding, reintegrating with the galaxy, trusting again." "No," Ilara agreed. "But humans have always excelled at doing the impossible." In the sky above, stars were appearing as dusk fell. Stars that were no longer distant and unreachable, but destinations once more. And among them, the first new council ships arrived, not with weapons charged, but with diplomats, scientists, and traders eager to rediscover the species they had been taught to fear. Earth's long night was ending. The Guardian had fulfilled her purpose. And across the galaxy, darkness gave way to the dawn of a new age, one shaped by truth, justice, and the indomitable human spirit that had survived against all odds. The lost had been found, the forgotten, remembered, and the stars themselves would never be the same.